Tired. Excuse me. Tired time indeed with a chicken. I completely get you, bro. Yo, Tunes, you play Monster Hunter? You know Monster classifications. I do. Depends on what what you're trying to get into. But also, everybody, welcome back. I'm sorry. I'm louder than I'm supposed to be. Welcome back to twitch.tv/Looney Tunes. I'm Looney Tunes, your host, as well as your book reader for the day. Where we last left off in the book Final Girls, I believe, trying to go off memory, I'm not trying to write anything down. One of the last few things happened, let me double check. Yes. Okay. So one of the last few things that happened was our main character, Quentin Carpenter.
Gimme that badge, baby.
That's what I was waiting for. God damn it, Withered Chicken. Thank you so much, baby. Much appreciated, man. Thank you absolutely so much, homie. So much, man. Where we last left off with Quentin Carpenter, she just got the news that one of her good friends, Lauren, not Lisa. If not Lauren, it was Lisa, but I feel like it was Lauren. It was Lisa Milner. Lisa is dead. Lisa's dead. It was ruled as a suicide. Keep that in mind. That's the important thing. Is it actually one? I don't know. We don't know. That's the important thing is the police officer known as Coop had told Quentin Carpenter that that her friend's dead. Okay? Upon leaving the cafe, also, I was asking as I'm drawing my fan monsters, because I don't know, I like the challenge of doing the anatomy, as you saw with the peacock and hammerhead leviathan. So I wanted to ask what you wanted to see next. So I wanted to say this. I actually thought I already said this, which is why I felt bad when I saw that Romance Dawn said something, and you were like, wow, late, and I was like, I thought I already talked about this. The peacock is actually my favorite. Peacocks in general are my favorite animals, or second favorite animals. It's wolves and then peacocks. So if there was another animal that I want to see you try to make a monster based off of, like if you're trying to go like grand scale with it, like the quote unquote big kind of monster, you should try, let's see, I would say go for a tiger. Yeah, see something tiger-esque, because I know we got the Zenogre, which is your wolf monster, your wolf version of a monster, but I don't remember a tiger-esque monster, like a legitimate tiger type monster. I'm doing a Neopterian. Interesting. I wouldn't know where to begin with that one, pimp. But last bit of recap. Upon leaving the cafe, Quentin actually gripped somebody for their phone, stole their phone. This is just the update for what's going on. Man, we got Tigrex. I mean, I could try with a Garen body type. See, but Tigrex isn't really a tiger though. He was like a dragon, really. He wasn't really a tiger. Like, he wasn't actually a tiger. He was just like some type of dragony thing. You could say you could fight that a Barioth. He was closer to a tiger, just without the stripes, just based off of like the saber tooth idea. But even then, it's just like, bat, like another bat tiger. But anyway, so that's the last thing we remember. Quentin stole the Quentin stole the iPhone from the au pair, the mom and child that was also in the cafe, and without Coop knowing, she kept the phone up until she got home, because she really likes shiny things. She looks at these shiny things to see her reflection off of them. Like, she stole a lot of things, right? And she has this special drawer in the kitchen that has a key only she has the key to. Her boyfriend does not have the key to this drawer. Her boyfriend's name is Jeff, if not Coop, the police officer. And when she opened the drawer, apparently there was a lot of other things in there, and she puts the iPhone in that bad boy. So I'm gonna go through this. I'm gonna start chapter 3 now. We're actually on chapter 3 at this point, so let's make this happen. I want to make it a Garon body type, like Odogaron and the Barons from Frontier and whatnot. Slim, fast, and deadly. Odogaron, is that the wolf bloodhound? Is that bloodhound from the Monster Hunter World? Who am I thinking of, if that's not him? You know what I'm talking about, but I've got bug to do. Let me know if that's the one you're talking about. Bloodhound from Monster Hunter World, the Hell Dog. Demon Doggy. I spend the afternoon avoiding the unfinished cupcakes. They seem to stare at me from the kitchen counter, seeking the same treatment as the two decorated ones sitting a few feet away. Smug in their completeness, I know I should finish them, if only for the therapeutic value. After all, that's the first commandment on my website. Baking is better than therapy. Usually I believe it. Baking makes sense. What Lisa Milner did does not. Yet my mood is so dark. I know that not even baking can help. Instead, I go to the living room, fingertips skipping over unread copies of The New Yorker and that morning's Times magazine, trying to fool myself into thinking I don't know exactly where I'm heading. I end up there anyway, at that bookcase, by the window, using a chair to reach the top shelf and the books that rest there. Lisa's books. She wrote it a year after her encounter with Stefan Liebman, giving it the sad in retrospect title of The Will to Live, My Personal Journey of Pain and Healing. Now, for those of you who don't know, Stefan Liebman is Lisa Milnor's attacker. Lisa Milnor was not attacked 5 years prior to Quentin Carpenter by a whole different man named Stefan Liebman. He actually attacked her entire sorority home. About 10 women. She was the only one to survive that attack. So she made it out just fine. ¿Cómo você está, player DBR? Salve, mi amigo, mi hermano. How you been, my friend? If it's going to be a tiger, I'll make it that body type, and that'll be my fanged wyvern. Yes, that'll be a good fanged wyvern. But I was wondering if you want to add something to the tiger design to make it interesting. If you were going to go with an actual tiger design, try something, pick an element, and I'll give you something to work with based off that element. Let's do that, because I can see the Noger being an electrical type, like I want to say he is like a thunder type, right? So pick an element, and we'll go from there. Don't pick dragon, that's kind of corny. Let's see. It was a minor bestseller. Lifetime turned it into a TV movie. Lisa sent me a copy immediately after Pine Cottage happened. Inside, she had written, "To Quincy, my glorious sister in survival, I'm here if you ever need me, if you ever need to talk." Beneath it was her phone number, the digits tidy and block-like. I never intended to call. I told myself I didn't need her help. Considering that I couldn't remember anything, why would I? But I wasn't prepared for having every newspaper and cable news network in the country exhaustively cover the Pine Cottage murders. That's what they all called it, the Pine Cottage murders. It didn't matter that it was more of a cabin than a cottage. It made for a good headline. Besides, Pine Cottage was its official name, burned summer camp style onto a cedar plank hung above the door. Other than the funerals, I laid low. When I left the house, it was for doctor's appointments or therapy sessions, because a refugee camp of reporters had occupied the lawn. My mother was forced to usher me out the back door and through the neighbor's yard to a car waiting on the next block. That still didn't keep my high school yearbook photo from being slapped on the cover of People magazine. The words, "Sole Survivor," brushing my acne-ringed Chin. Hey, Casey, how you doing? Shouldn't you be sleeping? And the peacock does bleed and flash. Nice. So let's do thunder. It's supposed to be a fast body type. It could be a fast water type. If you're gonna go for a thunder design, make every stripe streaks. You know, like mohawks kind of like streak upward. Make every stripe streak like that, like upward, like protrude out. You know what I mean? So every stripe is protruding out. Still have the fangs that come down like a tiger would, but also has like a beard almost, kind of like a sharp beard. Go for something like that. You got this. Still, I'm on design, so that's a good design. Maybe we could be doing something fast, linear, lunge faster than light with lightning trails. Yeah, don't get too into Zenogre though. You got to be careful with that. You're going to mix them up. Everyone wanted an exclusive interview. Let's start over. Excuse me. That still didn't keep my high school yearbook photo from being slapped on the cover of People magazine. The words "Soul Survivor" brushing my acne-ringed chin. Everyone wanted an exclusive interview. Reporters called, emailed, texted. One famous newswoman, repulsion, forbids me from using her name. Pounded on the front door as I sat on the other side, back pressed to the rattling wood. Before leaving, she shoved a handwritten note under the door offering me a 100 grand. Oh, offering me 100 grand. Excuse me. For a sit-down interview. The paper smelled of Chanel number 5. I threw it into the trash. Excuse me again. Even with a broken heart and a stab wound still zippered with stitches, I knew the score. The press was intent on turning me into a final girl. Goddamn. I really gotta sneeze. Jesus Christ. Maybe I could have handled it better had my home life been even the slightest bit stable. It wasn't. By then my father's cancer had returned with a vengeance, leaving him too weak and nauseated from chemo to help soothe my ragged what was that? By then my father's cancer had returned with a vengeance, leaving him too weak and nauseated from chemo to help soothe my ragged emotions. Still, he tried. Having almost lost me once, he made it clear my well-being was his first priority. Making sure I ate, slept, didn't wallow in my grief. He just wanted me to be okay, even when he obviously wasn't. Near the end, I began to think I had survived Pine College only because my father had somehow made a pact with God, exchanging his life for mine. I assumed my mother felt the same way, but I was too scared and guilt-ridden to ask. Not that I had much of a chance. By that point, she had descended into desperate housewife mode, determined to keep up appearances, no matter the cost. She had convinced herself that the kitchen needed remodeling, as if new linoleum, that's an interesting word, could somehow blunt the 1-2 punch of cancer in Pine College. When she wasn't grimly shuttling my father and me to various appointments, she was comparing countertops and sorting through paint samples, not to mention continuing her strict suburban regimen of spin classes and book clubs. Okay, so this lady is kind of going on a tangent right now. This has nothing to do with what's actually happened. Like, she's complete. The book is, chapter 3 is actually going on a tangent so far. Everything she's talking about here is just of, it started with Lisa Milnor, the one I told you who just died, right? It started with Lisa Milnor, and then it's going on a tangent of, like, I don't know, that whole time period, right? When she got Lisa's book of surviving, and what happened when she survived, how was her mom and dad during that time period, and it looks like dad's dead at this point. I get it, but at the same time, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's a bit of a tangent. Chrono, nice to meet you, Chrono. You're a very handsome man. Oh, I thank you. You're a very handsome text. I mean, I don't really know what you look like, but I assume you look pretty based off of your text. Oh, yo, Toonie, I got an idea. You remember those dogs with snake heads that have a tail in Greek mythology? Chimeras? I assume you're talking about chimeras. That's what my design's going to be, a lightning tiger with a snake tail. Hey, you're on to something. Although, I don't remember there ever being many monsters that have, like, 2 heads, if you will. Let's see where we're at. Excuse me. Channel number 5. My mother felt the same way. Here we go. Okay. Found it. When she wasn't grimly shuttling my father and me to various appointments, she was comparing countertops and sorting through paint samples, not to mention continuing her strict suburban regimen of spin classes and book clubs. To my mother, bowing out of a single social obligation would have been an admission of defeat. Because my patchouli-scented therapist said it was good to have a stable support system. Honestly, have you ever seen a patchouli-scented therapist? It deserved that little jump scare there. Because of my patchouli-scented therapist said it was good to have a stable support system, I turned to Coop. He's the police officer. He did what he could. God love him. He fielded more than a few desperate late-night phone calls. Yet I needed someone who had gone through an ordeal similar to Pine Cottage. Lisa seemed to be the best person for the job. Rather than flee the scene of her trauma, Lisa stayed in Indiana. After 6 months of recuperating, she returned to that very same college and earned a degree in child psychology. When she accepted her diploma, the crowd at her graduation ceremony gave her a standing ovation. A wall of press in the back of the auditorium captured the moment in a strobe of flashbulbs. So I read her book. I found her number. I called. Do I want to know what you're reading? I don't know, do you? I've said at the beginning of every episode. By the way, that reminds me, I didn't do the updates yet. For those of you who don't know so far, December 19th, we actually have a giveaway happening for PS5. We also have another giveaway that same day for an Xbox Series X. So, if you miss your opportunity to get one on day 1, that's your chance to be able to get one that day. All you have to do is save up your channel points for a ticket. You can get more than one ticket. They cost a lot though, so I suggest you stay here for a while. Just saying. Aside from that, if you missed chapters 1 and 2's discussion as well as the reading of it, they'll be on the YouTube channel. They'll be there first thing in the afternoon tomorrow. I believe 12 o'clock noon Eastern Standard Time. I already uploaded them. They're scheduled to release. And I'll be giving you guys the YouTube link later because I forgot. Love ya. Anyway, back to it. Now I relax to soothing Daddy Toon's voice. Hey, that's the other announcement. I now know the gender of my first child. Yep. Looney Tunes and Red Camboli's very first baby. We now have the gender for. And similar to my good pal Maximilian Dudes. I love that guy. I want to do something similar to him where we play a little guessing game on what we'll be naming our first baby. Don't spoil yet, mate. I'll tell you guys on Friday. We'll play a little Friday guessing game. But anyway, back to it. Oh, come on, man. Oh, you want to wait? All right. We'll wait till my birthday. How about that? I was there for that stream too, actually. We'll wait till my birthday. It's actually pretty close to the baby's birthday, sadly. That was so agonizing. It was beautiful. All right, where were we? Let's see. All right, here we go. So I read her book. I found her number. I called. I want to help you, Quincy, she told me. I want to teach you how to be a final girl. What if I don't want to be a final girl? That's not your choice. It's already been decided for you. You can't change what happened. The only thing you can control is how you deal with it. For Lisa, that meant facing the situation head on. She suggested I granted a few interviews to the press, but on my terms. She said talking about it publicly would help me deal with what had happened. I followed her advice and granted 3 interviews, one to the New York Times, one to Newsweek, and one to Miss Janelle No. 5, who ended up paying me that $100,000, even though I didn't ask for it. It went a long way toward buying the apartment, and if you think I don't feel guilty about that, think again. The interviews were awful. It felt wrong to be talking openly about dead friends who could no longer speak for themselves, especially when I couldn't remember what had actually happened to them. I was as much of a bystander as the people eager to consume my interviews like candy. Each one left me so empty and hollow that no amount of food could make me feel full again. So I stopped trying, eventually landing back in the hospital 6 months after I had left it. By then my father had already lost his battle with cancer and was simply waiting for it to make the knockout blow. Still, he was by my side every day, wobbling in his wheelchair. He spooned ice cream into my mouth to wash down the bitter antidepressants I had been forced to take. A spoonful of sugar, Quinn, he said. The song doesn't lie. Once my appetite returned and I was released from the hospital, Oprah came calling. One of her producers phoned out of the blue saying she wanted us on her show. Lisa and me, and even Samantha Boyd. Samantha Boyd is another quote-unquote final girl. I'm forgetting how she survived. I'm losing the blank. Oh, that's right. Samantha Boyd's story we don't know much about, but when she survived, she completely went off grid. So Lisa, they knew where she was staying. She's in Indiana, right? And Quentin, our main character, our main protagonist, she is close to Manhattan, about 3 hours away. But we don't know the exact city or, where it's at. But we know for sure it's 3 hours from Manhattan. Samantha went off the grid. They cannot find her. She's neither alive nor dead at this point. You know what I mean? After her survival of the encounter, that's what happened. Seriously, what did I log into? You log into a bedtime story. This is going to be put on YouTube for people who just need a nice reading while they go to sleep. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make sure you're nice and relaxed, you're comfortable, and I can read you a nice story. I'm being forced to read, so I'm forcing you guys to listen to it. Right, Fang? Exactly. ASMR much? Is it really ASMR? I feel like it's not. Is it really? Audio sensory? I guess. I mean, you can call it that. Call it a nice bedtime story. I mean, I guess it is like a sensory to the auditory. But what's going on, Fang? What's happening with you, man? How was y'all day? Let me know while I read my next 2 pages. Let me get through the 2 pages and then I'll catch up on the chat. But I would like to know, how was your days today? It's really late, if you could. And if you're busy trying to actually go to sleep, that's even better. Okay. And if you think I don't feel guilty about that, think again. The interviews were awful. It felt wrong to be talking openly about dead friends who could no longer speak for themselves, especially when I couldn't remember what had actually happened to them. I was as much a bystander as the people eager to consume my interviews like candy. Each one left me so empty and hollow that no amount of food could make me feel full again. Oh, right. I already passed all that. Once my appetite returned and I was released from the hospital, Oprah came calling. One of her producers phoned out of the blue saying she wanted us on her show. Lisa, me, and even Samantha Boyd. The 3 final girls united at last. Lisa, of course, agreed. So did Samantha, which was a surprise, considering how she was already practicing her vanishing act. Unlike Lisa, she never tried to contact me after Pine Cottage. She was as elusive as my memories. I too said yes, even though the thought of sitting before an audience of housewives clucking with sympathy almost made me plummet back down the rabbit hole of anorexia. But I wanted to make my fellow final girls, I wanted to meet my fellow final girls face to face, especially Samantha. By that point, I was ready to see the alternative to Lisa's exhausting openness. I never got the chance. The morning my mother and I were scheduled to fly to Chicago, I awoke to find myself standing in her recently remodeled kitchen. The place had been completely trashed. Broken plates covering the floor, orange juice dripping from the open refrigerator, countertops, a wasteland of eggshells, flour clumps, and oil slicks of vanilla extract. Seated on the floor amid the debris was my mother, weeping for the daughter who was still with her, yet irrevocably lost. "Why, Quincy?" she moaned. "Why would you do this?" Of course, I had been the one to ransack the kitchen like a careless burglar. I knew as soon as I saw the mess. There was a logic to the destruction. It was so utterly me. Yet I had no memory of ever doing it. Those unknown minutes spent trashing the place were so blank to me as that hour at Pine Cottage. "I didn't mean it," I said. "I don't know what happened. I swear." My mother pretended to believe me. She stood, wiped her cheeks, gingerly fixed her hair. Yet a dark twitchiness in her eyes betrayed her true emotions. She was, I realized, frightened of me. My mother pretended to believe me. She stood, wiped her cheeks, gingerly fixed her hair. Yet a dark twitchiness in her eyes betrayed her true emotions. She was, I realized, frightened of me. While I cleaned the kitchen, my mother called Oprah's people and canceled. Just got back to my home state of NYC. Hey, what part of NYC? You know, you're right down the street from Philadelphia. Like a 5-hour drive, I think, right? Something like that. Not even really. I think it's like 3 hours, and I take a long way. I'm just lazy. And a bit of a storm after the calm. Main music group is at a bit of an impasse/argument. Unexpected move to a different department at my job and a death in the family. My head somewhere. Not a negative space, but in a space. Project 6, I'm assuming I'm talking to Shin Okami most and foremost. If you need to talk, bro, I'm here, man. Like, I'm up at night now, dude. I get off work at 1 in the morning, and I wake up at like 2 in the afternoon. So, if you want to talk, man, I'm here for the talkage. Seriously. I'm going to get through chapter 3, and then we can talk. From Brooklyn. Well done, man. Where Brooklyn at? I actually don't know, because I've never been. No, I haven't been there yet, but I would love to go. You know, I gotta see the other hood. You know what I mean? Gotta see the other hood. That's what so agonizing. Then he gifted them away. I know, I'm sure he did. I mean, I'm gonna gift some in some way with a chicken as well. I gotta do it for the people. Sounds like me. I'm a night owl. I noticed that one. Thanks. Can't say I'm in the mood to talk, but I'll take you up on it sometime soon. Make it happen, man. That's what I'm here for. Since it was all of us. Alright, finish the outline for the Neo Patrol and time for some Steve matches. Hey, thanks for the 100 bits, man. Make those matches happen. I'm trying to cut back on Smash. I've been playing a lot of Steve. I need to like slow down a little bit. Plus I got some artwork I need to get done. Yeah, I gotta take a chill pill for a while. Since it was all of us or nothing, that decision scuttled the whole thing. There would be no televised meeting of the final girls. Later that day, my mother took me to a doctor who basically gave me a lifetime prescription for Xanax. So eager was my mother to have me medicated that I was forced to swallow one in the pharmacy parking lot, washing it down with the only liquid in the car, a bottle of lukewarm grape soda. "We're done," she announced. "No more blackouts, no more rages, no more being a victim. You take these pills and be normal, Quincy. That's how it has to be." I agreed. I didn't want a troop of reporters at my graduation. I didn't want to write a book or do another interview or admit my scars still prickled whenever a thunderstorm rolled in. I didn't want to be one of those girls tethered to tragedy, forever associated with the absolute worst moment of my life. Still buzzing from the inaugural Xanax, I called Lisa and told her I wasn't going to do any more interviews. I was done being a perpetual victim. "I'm not a final girl," I told her. Lisa's tone was unfailingly patient, which infuriated me. "Then what are you, Quincy?" "I'm normal. For girls like you and me, and Samantha, there's no such thing as normal," she said. "But I understand why you want to try." Lisa wished me well. She told me she'd be there if I ever needed her. And we never spoke again. Now I stare at the face gazing from the cover of her book. It's a nice picture of Lisa, clearly touched up, but not in a tacky way. Friendly eyes, small nose, chin maybe a bit too large, and a forehead a touch too high. Not a classic beauty, but pretty. She's not smiling in this picture. This isn't the kind of book that warrants a smile. Her lips are pressed together in just the right way. Not too cheerful, not too severe. The perfect balance of gravity and self-satisfaction. I imagine Lisa practicing the expression in a mirror. The thought makes me sad. I then think of her huddled into her tub, knife in hand, and even worse thought, the knife. That's the thing I don't understand. More than the act of suicide itself. Shit happens. Life sucks. Sometimes people can't deal and choose to opt out. Sad as it may be, it happens all the time. Even to people like Lisa. But she used a knife. Not a bottle of pills washed down with vodka. My first preference, if it ever comes to it. Not the soft, fatal embrace of carbon monoxide, choice number 2. Lisa chose to end her life with the very thing that almost stabbed it out of her decades earlier. She purposely slid that blade across her wrist, taking care to dig in deep to finish the job Stefan Liebman had started. And I'm usually up around this time because of work. Writer News, did you hear the new song? No, you sent it to me. I haven't gotten the opportunity to listen to it yet. But F it, I'll listen to it tonight. Make sure I get you my first thoughts as fast as possible. I can't help but wonder what might have happened if Lisa and I stayed in touch. Maybe we should have eventually met in person. Maybe we could have become friends. Sounds like what Aang told Zuko. See, so this is all just, like, I get the idea of this, but it's flashback moment, it's tangent moment, you know what I mean? We're not necessarily progressing forward at this point, we're going backward. Because Lisa and Samantha Boyd for that matter, although they're final girls, they're not our final girl. Our final girl is... excuse me. Our final girl is Quincy Carpenter. Therefore, to me, she's the most important, if you get what I'm saying. Help me out on saying this correctly, Del Tate. Thank you so much for following. Is it Del Tate? Or is it Del Tate T464? Like, how'd you go about saying that? Let me know. And what's going on with you, homie? Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for the follow. Oh. I feel like a dummy. I'll be right back. I'm a dum-dum. I'm an actual dum-dum. I remember this commercial. Yeah, I feel bad because I do have the other ones close to finish. I'm just missing a few things to knock the rest of them out. My bad, people. Delta, I don't know how I didn't think Delta YT. I feel like a dingleberry, but nice to meet you, homie. That's a beautiful looking emo. Who's Lexi Trexy? Lexi T Rexy. See, look. I'm illiterate. That's why we're reading a book. What? I'm not a maid, baka. Philly. Excuse me. Geez, seeing this reminds me of wanting to do a Gamer Juice remix. Oh, Jesus. Are you ready for that life? I need to get another Gamer Juice commercial out, actually. We'll see what I can do. Maybe I could have saved her. I make my way back to the kitchen and open the laptop that's mostly used for blog business. After a quick Google search of Lisa Milner, I see that news of her death has yet to hit the internet. That it will soon. That is inevitable. The big unknown is how much its impact will reverberate. Wow. Let me get my Google on for that one. Reverberate. That's a... If that's how you say it, then that word is just ugly. And I feel like it's a little unnecessary. Reverberate. Reverberate. Wow. Reverberate. Wow. That is an ugly one. Thanks for the design help, Tunes. I'll be sure you get first look at that chimera. Reverberate. That word is ugly. To be repeated several times as an echo. I don't like that. Story and music sounds creepy. So, because it's Halloween time, right? We're reading a book called Final Girls. And Final Girls is about the girl who survives a slashing, a killer, right? She was one of the final women, you know, like in the movie, right? She's the final girl, the protagonist, the one who lived. And so this is like the life of her, you know, after the kill or the attack against her friends and her surviving it. And of course, because it's Halloween, we gotta have that music. Like a vibration, a continuous vibration. Okay, bye-bye, Casey. Have a great night, Withered Chicken. I hope you sleep well. Like I said, guys, if you actually do want to listen to these later, I'll make sure I pop them up on YouTube. And, you know, I'll send you guys the link. Hop in the Discord so you can get the first dibs on that link. You know, just in case you want to hear the story from the beginning and all that. But yeah, so Delta, that's why we're reading the story. For the Halloween. I see that the news of her death has yet to hit the internet. That it will soon is inevitable. The big unknown is how much its impact will reverberate into my own life. A few clicks later, I'm on Facebook. Ah, that's trademark. That insipid swamps of likes and links and atrocious grammar. Personally, I don't do social media. No Twitter, no Instagram. I had a personal Facebook page years ago, but shut it down after too many pity follows and friend requests from strangers with final girl fetishes. Yet one still exists for my website, a necessary evil. Through that, I can easily access Lisa's own Facebook page. She was, after all, a follower of Quincy's Sweets. Lisa's page has become a virtual memory wall, filled with condolence messages she'll never read. I scroll past dozens of them, most of them generic, but heartfelt. We'll miss you, Lisa Pisa, XOXO. I'll never forget your beautiful smile and your amazing soul. Rest in peace, Lisa. The most touching comes from a doe-eyed, brown-haired girl named Jade. Because you overcame the worst moment of your life, it inspired me to overcome the worst moment of mine. I'm forever inspired by you, Lisa. Now that you're among the angels in heaven, keep watch over those of us still down below. I find a picture of Jade in the many, many photos Lisa posted to her wall over the years. It's from 3 months ago, and it shows the two of them posing cheek to cheek at what appears to be an amusement park. Crisscrossed in the background are the support beams of a wooden roller coaster. An enormous teddy bear fills Lisa's arms. It sounds weird trying to be creepy to a story so far about the fact that she's literally just reminiscing about this lady that, you know, she had a connection with but never actually met in person. They just both shared the same problem in two different scenarios, but they shared the same kind of issue, right? Because Lisa also had that problem. But for those who don't know, Lisa committed suicide, assumingly. I'm going to still stick with assumingly. And now that she's dead, you know, Quincy just heard the news. She's kind of going through a reminiscent phase of Lisa to try to bring herself up, I guess. I never understand how this works, because it's not going to bring you up. It'll only bring you down. I guess it's to remind us that we're still human. An enormous teddy bear fills Lisa's arms. There's no question that their smiles are genuine. You can't fake that kind of joy. God knows I've tried. Yet there's an aura of loss around both of them. I see it in their eye. That same subliminal sadness always creeps into pictures of me. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you took it away. You gave it away. This year, I'm being sincere. I'll give it to someone special. Special. Okay, so that clearly wasn't what it actually said. It was just what I felt like saying. Last Christmas, when Jeff and I went to Pennsylvania, that's where I'm from, to visit my mother, we all posted for a picture in front of the tree, acting as if we were a real functioning family. Later, while looking at the photos on her computer, my mother mistook my rigid grin for a grimace and said, "Would it have killed you to smile, Quincy? I have to sleep. You'll see me next stream. Delta YT. I feel like I've seen your name before, but in case I haven't, it's so nice that I've gotten the opportunity to meet you tonight. I hope you have a great night. I'll still be here reading through Chapter 3. You have a beautiful one. Thank you so much for the follow again." I spend a half hour poking around Lisa's photos, getting glimpses of an existence far different from mine. Although she had never married, settled down, and had kids, her life seemed to be a fulfilling one. Lisa had surrounded herself with people, family, and friends, and girls like Jade who just needed a kind presence. I could have been one of them, had I allowed it. Instead, I did the opposite, keeping people at a safe distance, pushing them away if necessary. Closeness was a luxury I couldn't afford to lose again. Scanning Lisa's photos, I mentally insert myself into each one. There I am, posing with her at the edge of the Grand Canyon. There we are, wiping mist from our faces in front of Niagara Falls. That's me, tucked into a group of women kicking up our two-tone shoes at a bowling alley. "Bowling buddies," read the caption. I paused at a picture Lisa had posted 3 weeks ago. It's a selfie, taken from a stretched, slightly overhead angle. In it, Lisa is raising a bottle of wine in what appears to be a wood-paneled dining room. For a caption she had written, "Wine time, lol." There's a girl behind her, mostly cut out of the tilted frame. She reminds me of those alleged pictures of Bigfoot I sometimes see on a cheesy paranormal show. A blur of black hair turning away from the camera. I feel a kinship with that unnamed girl. Even if I can't see her face, I too turned away from Lisa, retreating into the background, alone. I became a blur, a smudge of darkness stripped of all my details. Interesting. I think this is the end of chapter 3. What? But it doesn't say chapter 4. It actually had a name. Oh, it's not the end. Okay, hold on. Pine Cottage, 3:37 p.m. At first, the idea of the cabin made Quincy think of a fairy tale, mostly because of its whimsical name, Pine Cottage. Hearing it conjured up images of dwarves and princesses and woodland creatures eager to help with chores. But as Craig's SUV bucked along the gravel drive and the cabin finally came into view, Quincy knew what her imagination had let her down. The reality of the place was far less fanciful. On the outside, Pine Cottage appeared squat, sturdy, and bluntly utilitarian. Only slightly more elaborate than something that could be built with Lincoln logs. It sat among a cluster of tall pines that towered over the slate roof, making the place look smaller than it actually was. Huddled together with their branches intertwined, the trees surrounded the cabin in a thick wall, beyond which sat more trees, spreading outward in silent blackness. A dark forest. That was the fairy tale Quincy had been looking for. Only it was more Brothers Grimm than Disney. When she stepped out of the SUV and peered into the tangled thicket, an unwelcome tickle of apprehension flitted over her. So this is what the middle of nowhere looks like, she announced. It's creepy. Scaredy cat, Janelle said, as she moved behind Quincy, lugging not one, but 2 suitcases. Overpacker, Quincy shot back. All right, hold on. This is the flashback that I am okay with. This is a flashback of Pine Cottage when they were finally going there. Right now, we only have the 2 girls, Janelle and Quincy herself. If for those who don't know, Janelle died. But Janelle died in Quincy's arms. Janelle was attacked early, ran away as fast as she can, I assume. They didn't say that part. Quincy only turned around to see Janelle walking toward her, and when she got close enough, she died in her arms because she was passed out from all the blood loss she had. I mean, Quincy wore an all-white outfit, all-white dress kind of thing, and pretty much was stained as close to red as you're going to get from how much blood was oozing out. The new Hummer EV has 4-wheel turning, as well as all-wheel drive, as well as 4-wheel MPG, as well as 35 miles to the gallon of gasoline, maybe, we don't know, as well as Bluetooth speaker, as well as car seats, and drive, and reverse, and neutral. Buy one today, $0 down, all the money immediately bought. Gasoline, it's an EV, shaking my head. And all-wheel drive, and more gasoline. And what's up, Ken Animates? How you doing tonight? When she stood out of the SUV and peered into the tangled thicket. Oh yeah, right, excuse me. Overpacker, Quincy shot back. Janelle jutted out her tongue, holding the pose until Quincy realized she was supposed to grab her camera and capture it for posterity. Dustfully, she dug her new Nikon out of its bag and snapped a few shots. She kept on shooting once Janelle broke the pose and tried to lift both of her suitcases, thin arms straining. Nice Joker. George deserved it. I believe that. But I don't know what you're talking about, Nice Joker. But I still believe it. as well as $5,000 back. As well as, don't be nervous, I'm just watching you read. I'm not nervous at all. You'll never make me nervous, or will you? Senpai, I'll never know. Don't listen to me, Baka-chan. I'm going back to reading. Nice choker. I'll just have you know that George probably did deserve it. She kept on shooting once Janelle broke the pose and tried to lift both of her suitcases, thin arms straining. "Quincy," she said in that singy-songy voice. Quincy knew all too well. "Help me carry these, pretty please?" Quincy looped the camera around her neck. "Nope. You're the one who brought all that stuff? I doubt you'll even use half of it." "But I'm prepared for anything. Isn't that like what the Boy Scouts say?" "Be prepared," Craig said, passing them both with a cooler perched on his sturdy shoulders. "And I hope one of the things you packed was the key to this place." Janelle jumped at the excuse to ignore her suitcases and searched the pockets of her jeans until she found the key. She then bounded to the front door, giving a smack to the cedar sign that bore the cabin's name. "Group portrait?" she suggested. Quincy set the camera's timer and placed it on the hood of Craig's SUV, then rushed to join the others in front of the cabin. All 6 of them held their smiles, waiting for the shutter's telltale click. The East Hall crew, as Janelle had dubbed them during freshman orientation, still thick as thieves 2 months into their sophomore year. Picture time over Janelle ceremoniously unlocked the front door. Gamer bruh, Gamer Animate. Gamer bruh, how you doing? Am I too late? I don't know. Well, I don't think so. Not too late. We haven't ended, if you look at it that way. My new username, GamerBro20, is Gamer Enemy. Dun dun dun. I'm really tired, guys. What do you think? She asked as soon as it creaked open, before the rest of them had more than a scant second to take in their surroundings. It's cozy, right? Quincy agreed, although her idea of coziness wasn't bearskin on the walls and a well-trod rug tossed over the floor. She would have used the words rustic. Thanks for the host, Gamer Bro. Much appreciated. Hello, new daddy. Hello, new mother. Have a good night. My good man, I hope you have a beautiful night as well. And like I said, if you guys want to listen to this on a different day, they will officially be up tomorrow on the Looney Tunes YouTube channel. I even have them already published and scheduled to start tomorrow. So, you know, chapters 1, 2, and soon to be 3 will be there. Parajik 6, hey Red Camboli. Yeah, she's a mother. She's a mother. Use the word rustic with an emphasis on the rust, which ringed the kitchen sink and tinted the water sputtering from the pipes in the only bathroom. But it was big. As far as cabins went, 4 bedrooms, a deck in the back that only shimmied slightly when they stepped onto it, a great room with a filled stone fireplace roughly the size of the dorm room Janelle and Quincy shared. Logs tidily stacked beside it. The cabin, the whole weekend, actually was a birthday present for Janelle from her mom and stepdad. They aspired to be the cool parents. I will not be the cool parent. I will be such a douche to my kid. The ones who thought of their children as friends. The ones who assumed their college-age daughter was drinking and getting high anyway, so they might as well rent her a cabin in the Poconos to do it all in relative safety. 48 hours free of RAs, dorm food, and ID card that had to be swiped at every door and every elevator. So, actually important, and I want to hold on for a second. We got official confirmation that Pine Cottage, I wouldn't know this, even though the Poconos is not too far from where I'm from, Philadelphia. Poconos aren't crazy far. Pine Cottage is in the Poconos area. For anybody who knows, the Pine Cottage that we are going through is in the Poconos area. I actually know about the Poconos. My best friend lived in the Poconos for a good portion of his kid life before he went back with his grandmom, who happened to live near me. That's how we became best friends. I got to meet him then. Wait, she had the baby? No. Not till later. I forget the date. Somewhere like December, maybe. But so we didn't get that in the flashback or the very beginning prologue. We didn't get that it was in the Poconos for sure. And we also know that it is currently about 4 in the afternoon, almost 5 o'clock, from when they just got into this apartment or the cottage. I've snowboarded in the Poconos, been at most of the main resorts. I've never been there personally. I would love to go snowboarding. I don't want to get killed by a killer out there. But before it could begin, Janelle orders them all to place their cell phones inside a small wooden box. No calls, no texts, and definitely no pictures or videos, she said before stuffing the box into the SUV's glove compartment. What about cameras? Quincy asked. I'll allow your camera, but you can only take flattering pictures of me. Of course, Quincy said. I mean it, Janelle warned. If I see anything that goes down this weekend on Facebook, I will unfriend you, online and in real life. Then on her mark, all 6 of them sprinted to the bedrooms, each trying to claim the best one. Amy and Rodney grabbed the one with the waterbed, which sloshed wildly when they threw themselves on top of it. Beth, not having a boyfriend to bring along, dutifully took the room with bunk beds, flopping onto the bottom one with her dictionary thick copy of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Ugh. You heard me. Quincy. This song scares me. Quincy pulled Janelle into the one with twin beds, pressed against opposite walls, just like their dorm room. Home sweet home, Quincy said. Or at least a close enough approximation. Nice, Janelle said. The word sounding hollow to Quincy's ears. I don't know though. We can pick another room. It's your birthday. You got first choice. You're right, and I choose. Janelle grabbed Quincy by the shoulders, lifting her from the lumpy bed to sleep alone. She steered Quincy into the hall toward the room at the end of it, the cabin's largest. It boasted a bay window with a sweeping view of the woods. Several quilts adorned the walls in homespun kaleidoscopes of fabric. And there, seated on the edge of the king bed, was Craig. He looked at the floor, staring at the space between his Converse high tops. His hand rested on his lap, fingers laced, thumbs rolling over each other. He looked up when Quincy entered. She noticed a hopeful lift in his shy smile. I'm sure this will be much more comfortable, Janelle said, a wink in her voice. You two have fun. She knocked a hip against Quincy, nudging her deeper into the room. Then, she was gone, closing the door behind her and giggling back down the hall. It was her idea, Craig said. I assumed that. We don't have to. He stopped forcing Quincy to fill in the blank. Room together? Sleep together? Like Janelle so blatantly planned for them to do? It's fine, she said. Quincy, really, if you're not ready. Quincy sat beside him and put a hand on his trembling knee. Craig Anderson, the budding basketball star, brown-haired, green-eyed, sexily lanky Craig. Out of all the girls on campus, he picked her. "It's fine," she said again, meaning it as much as a 19-year-old contemplating the end of her virginity possibly could. "I'm glad." No, that's the end of my little flashback. I don't want to know that it ends on her banging some dude at 19. I don't care about that. All right, people. So that's the end of chapter 3. That's where we're going to be cutting it here. So I actually didn't mind that flashback. I like that part of the flashback. I think the beginning, they oohed. Oh, they definitely oohed. This is a thriller. This is a horror movie. Somebody has to ooh. And let's talk about this for a bit. I'm actually not against the ending part of that chapter 3 flashback. The beginning reminiscence bored me. It bugged me. I was not happy with it. But I actually really enjoyed when it went back. Most definitely oohed. Absolutely. 100% oohed. Like hands down oohed. Hands down oohed. Am I right? But the fact that we now have names to how many people died, right? We have Amy, we have Rodney, I believe. Amy and Rodney were together. We had Beth, who is a girl. I want to say her name is probably either Bethany or like something along the lines, you know what I mean? But BETV was what they had it as. We have Amy and Rodney, Beth, Janelle, Craig, and whose name is I'm slowly forgetting right now. Quincy herself. We had Janelle, Craig, Amy, Rodney, Betts, and Quincy. We had the 6 of them staying in the cottage staying in Pine Cottage out in the Poconos when they were attacked by someone, and Coop, the police officer, rookie cop, comes in to save the day, right? So we got more details to the date and time, the time and place, I should say, and we got more details on who actually was the victims, right? What we need now is the murderer. We don't know anything about quote unquote him. We do know that they've italicized the word him every time, whether it be someone saying it or whether it be just them mentioning it. Therefore, it makes me think, was it actually a dude? Was it a girl? I don't know. Janelle did die. We know nothing about the other ones. Betts was also a single girl, a single woman. She could have just as easily been the final bad guy. I don't know. And we'll find out later, maybe. Assumingly, him is already dead. Coop shot them multiple times. However, he never reported who him is. Like, what the name of them, who they possibly are. Was he buried? None of that. All we know is that Coop shot them. Personally, I still for some reason think that Coop is our bad guy. Like I'm kind of hell-bent on that one. That's where my mind is going with all this, right? But it's only chapter 3, and I don't know where we're at. I know that this is like page 42 out of like 400 some odd pages. We got a lot of pages, right? So we need to bust it down a little bit. Maybe tomorrow I'll knock out like 2 chapters. We'll see how that goes. Knock out 4 and 5 and talk about them as such. But for now, tonight, I'm gonna finish up. I want to go to sleep. I'm trying to go to sleep apparently early. As you can see, I'm pretty tired tonight, guys. I'm not even going to play Smash Bros. So